Burning, we're squirming. We're worms underneath and we're hurting. Hey, hey, that was pretty good, man.
Thank you. This is As the World Burns. I'm on my acoustic guitar right now. We just introed. That was the man from Kentucky there on the vocals. And we're going to be talking today about India v. Pakistan, the United States pulling out of the conflict in both Israel and Ukraine, and the new pope that's come to power. You know, I say come to power. All right. So,
New Pope loves the Mets, man.
does he love the Mets?
I think it's the. Oh no, not the Mets. He loves like wait, look it up.
He's from Chicago.
Yeah, so he likes like an alternative baseball team that is like controversial. It's like stupid. It's such a stupid thing to be like, oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He likes this baseball team that no one else likes from this place. It's like a New York thing with Mets. You know what I mean? It's wherever he's from. It's like he likes this alternative baseball team that everybody's farting over. It's
Oh,
pathetic.
yeah. He's from Chicago, so he probably likes the New York one then.
Yeah, what? Yeah, he likes it, dude. People are giving shit over the baseball team he likes. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not the reason to hate a Pope, dude.
Yeah, this shithead likes deep dish pizzas. That's the reason to hate him. No, I'm just kidding. I love deep dish pizzas.
I like
Okay,
deep
so why
dish
should we hate him?
rolls.
What is it?
I like fat.
Why
deep
shouldn't?
dish.
Why shouldn't we hate him?
Why should?
Well, we gave like a good amount of reasons to hate him already, but I mean, I guess they're not good. No, because that was the point. Those are bad reasons to hate him.
The only reason to hate him is because he's American, I guess, right?
All right, so you know what? I feel it's a bit degenerate. Let's just say it's like that's a worse word, but we'll just go with it. You know what I mean? All right. So I just feel like the narrative is a bit degenerative. You know what I mean?
We got to have another podcast.
This is an evolving podcast, and anything that we need to edit out could be honestly put into a Patreon. And if people really if this ever built a following, then we could take everything that is hardcore, put it on a Patreon.
One day I want to have, even if the world is ending, which that would be the perfect, that would be like the perfect thing for this show, really, is if the world ended. But, uh, even if the world ended, I want to go out, talking about all the crazy shit going on and have like an outlet to express myself, I guess.
Yeah, man, that's all.
I propose? Can I propose another podcast for like a secondary podcast on this current podcast now network?
Well, so like, do you mean like another Burns like series?
No. So I was actually thinking, as the world turns.
No, I can't. I can't
Yeah,
do
so
that.
it's
That's
gonna be
copyright.
Yo, dude, that's kind of fire, man.
But it's copyright.
No,
what?
it's your own copyright, man.
It's As the World Turns is a soap opera.
Dude, so Rob.
Oh, really?
That's how I got the name for As the World Burns. My mom is super into soap operas, and she
a phrase.
No,
that's amazing.
dude.
Yo, you mean to tell me that this podcast is named after a fucking soap opera?
Look it up. As the World Turns.
Yo, I love this name even more now.
It's funny. Yeah.
Yes, that's so clever then, bro. I didn't even realize, man.
Yeah, I have layers and people don't realize that. I know.
All right, so then we just need to make a new name if we're trying to make an alternative.
Yeah,
podcast.
I'm down with that.
Yeah,
it's
you were just like, dude, that's the name of the soap opera. I was like, what?
Dude, what? Bro, it was a good idea though, man. But no, you can't use the name if just in case, because anything could happen. You could just get sued for it. Say the shit say it did. Say we got enough followers or some shit. you guys could end up fucked. You know what I mean? Like something can end up happening. You guys get served, and you got to shut the whole thing down. That'd be stupid. It's just not worth it. It's worth just renaming it a better point. You know what I mean? Like
renaming it.
you know what I mean? Not this
Yeah.
one. This one's good, but if we were gonna do a different one, it just
Well, that's also why I do ATWB a lot of the time instead of As the World Burns, because I don't want to, like, I don't want to wear it out the title also.
that's why I kind of like how like it's. I like how the host stays the name, but then every once in a while we'll change personas. I think that's a smart thing too.
Oh yeah.
It keeps things fresh.
You want to know who to thank on that one?
That was my contribution.
Yeah, I could
Exactly.
tell. I like that, and I like that. That's fire, bro.
Yeah, that was his contribution.
Yeah, I could tell.
I
I
was.
like.
Oh, I
Like
just
It
put a
adds
picture
context to
in.
everything that you say, even if it doesn't actually mean anything.
I mean, as much as we got into, dude, I kind of loved that we got into like a whole episode where you guys should keep it. I think you probably have it stashed, man. But the fact that you have a whole episode of you and him arguing about the new persona he wants to have, I think it was amazing, bro. I think all of that was content in itself, and you should make that an episode. Evenly you should evenly just edit those parts, post it as its own episode, even if it's like 20 minutes or something, bro. The best
Or
parts. And
I
be
did
like
post
argument.
part of that. Remember us talking about the Tupelo thing was from that episode.
Yeah. Yes, and it was perfect. The Tupelo thing was perfect, but I think you should splice the parts where you're like super heated about it. Even the parts, bro. Even the parts where
Yeah,
I'm like where taking pictures of me and posting them on the fucking thing, and me getting frustrated about it. That should all be posted. It just should be edited a certain way, dude. That shit's comedy gold, bro. That's just perfect, bro. And it should be its
Yeah.
own episode. You should call it like something for, like make it a point that it was like almost an argument. You know what I mean? And that's content, bro, in itself. People are they eat that shit up. It's drama, bro. It's drama, and people like it. I'm totally okay with being the guy that's the most hated on this podcast. I would actually like that the most if that was.
I don't know. I don't think you're the most hated though. The episodes with you have been pretty entertaining though.
But I wouldn't be able to be entertaining without talking to you guys. So it's like this is a dynamic and it works. You know what I mean? I like this.
Exactly.
This is fire.
Well, that's even why I asked him to ask you on tonight because we were talking about like some heavy shit, and I was like, I need you to throw in some crazy.
Crazy shit. Yeah. All right. So are we going to talk about this crazy shit? Let's get it.
Yeah. All right. Man from Kentucky and Tree Spirit. Today we are getting into India versus Pakistan, Israel versus Iran, and the new Pope. And I just want to say for the first time in recorded history, we have two nuclear powers that are going head to head, India v. Pakistan. The United States, I think yesterday, as of yesterday, has said that they, let me turn that up a little bit. The United States, as of yesterday, has said that they are going to not intervene and let them go about their business, which does not bode well for that region, but we'll see what happens. We also were talking about the Israel versus Iran thing. Israel, I guess the United States said that they're going to pull support or they're not going to support Israel as much, which is kind of crazy after like literally years
Wow.
of like unabashed support. So that's happening, and then we have the new pope who likes deep dish pizzas from Chicago, and I guess he likes the Mets too. We were talking about that before. He likes New York stuff, even though he's from Chicago. Although he does like deep dish
He's
pizzas.
not. He's not about regular shit, man. I like
Yeah,
that. I like this
yeah,
guy already.
yeah. This American pope. All right, let's get into it. So, what do we want to talk or get into first? I mean, we kind of
Let's-
just
How about
summarized those.
how about we go into the background of this Pope? What do we know about him?
Well, we know he's Chicago. He is
where did he
Chicago.
go to school to be a pope?
Okay, that's a good. I like that too. Where? Yeah. What did he do to make himself such a fucking prestigious human? To make himself be the next pope, man.
And
Like,
and
we're,
and and is he a pedophile?
yeah, dude. I think we're all thinking that. I think does this man have any controversies around his name? I
So
would
he
love
does
to.
actually have controversies. Supposedly, this is going off the dome, so don't quote me on this, even though this is going to be quoted on a podcast. But
Smart, bro. Gotta say it, bro.
yeah,
Smart.
exactly. Just gotta say it.
Yep. Ain't nobody saying nothing. We just saying.
Supposedly, a priest or somebody came forward about like some shady shit that was going on at his church that he was like the head of or whatever, and he kind of swept it under the rug. So that is kind of a shady thing that he's involved in. All right, Pope Leo, born Robert Francis Prevost, has been elected as the first American-born pope. Why do they call him Pope Leo if his name is Robert Francis Prevost? I wonder.
Didn't we talk about that? How they all get a pope name?
Yeah, because he
We
had to choose a pope name. Because he had to choose a pope name, so that you have to be. You can address him by his pope name. He chose what to be called, bro.
Why did he want to be a Pope Leo?
That's a good point that our dude just made. Like, that's a weird. It's just weird to me that they come up with their own names. It's like,
That is weird.
yeah, it's odd, man. Like you're getting
So
rebranded.
so this is marking. Oh, I just also want to say this also um doesn't this means that the last Pope prophecy that we were talking about on previous episodes. I think this is
Did not.
yeah, this is it did not come true apparently because this guy's not named Peter and his Pope name is not Pope Peter or whatever, Pope Leo. So I guess we dodged that bullet, right? Right, everybody. But so this was marking a significant moment in the history of the Catholic Church. He was chosen from among the papables, the leading candidates for the papacy. He is seen as a centrist figure known for his global experience and dedication to social justice. See, I've heard that, I guess, dedication to social justice, but I've heard that he's pretty moderate. He is expected to continue the work of his predecessor, Pope Francis, particularly on issues related to the environment, migrants, and the poor. Well, that makes sense. He's the first American pope in history, which is kind of crazy. He holds dual citizenship in the United States and Peru, where he served as a missionary and bishop for many years. He is considered a centrist, but with progressive views on social issues, particularly those related to the marginalized.
Do you think that there is a possibility that they put certain popes into position because it benefits maybe some type of governmental narrative?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like there's something more that we're just like not hearing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of popes that visit weird shit too. Like, wasn't there was that pope that visited the Antarctica recently, right? Like 10 years ago.
There's a pope that went to Antarctica. Why?
I don't know. It's apparently kind of a weird thing too.
Because he wanted to drink glacial water, like ludicrous. Is that why?
The Russian Orthodox Patriarch, which is like the Russian Pope, visited Antarctica research station in 2016.
I mean, dude, you're quick with it, man. I kind of appreciate how quick you are. Yeah, this is why this guy's the host, man. This is the magic maker. Can I start calling you the Undertaker, bro?
I mean, that or Magic Maker's cool. I'm cool with either.
Magic. All right, cool. Yeah, we're going. Yeah. Magic Man. Keep going. Keep
But
going.
anyways, so
Yes.
the new pope, the choice of his papal name, Leo, is seen as a nod to Pope Leo the 13th, a reformer known for his focus to social justice and workers' rights. So I guess that's good. He has a diverse background, serving in Peru, Chiclayo, and most recently as the head of the dicastery for the bishops in the Vatican. So it says this election signifies a shift in leadership. Well, no shit.
I will say the guy looks like he could beat
The
someone
guy
up.
looks like Emperor Palpatine, and that's not a diss.
No, 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 no. Yeah, because it's not like this is the thing. It's not old Emperor Palpatine. My dude he looks kind of brisk.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks kind of like a little more. He looks alive. So like, I can't. I'm not a religious guy.
He,
Yeah,
he's the young
he's
pope.
probably like he might even be like probably looks older than me, but he might be closer to my age, bro. He might be in his 40s or some shit. I don't even think he's 50 years old, bro. This is like one of the youngest, most healthiest, most probably capable popes that we've ever fucking got. So like, it's trippy. It's a trippy pick, like straight up. I was super tripped out when I saw it.
Look at the picture I just sent.
It's in the chat. Yep.
Look at both pictures.
Oh my fucking god! It's Palpatine, bro. It's young
It is
Palpatine.
Palpatine. It
It's
is.
okay. So he's a little older than I thought, I guess, but that's
He
him.
still looks pretty young though. Yeah, that's
I,
him.
so I guess the picture, dude, the picture that was posted of him, he still had black hair. So I was under the impression that he was younger than that.
Wait, let me send one more.
All right, so he's not as young as I thought, but
Look at this one right here.
this is why I don't listen to this is why I don't listen to my 80-year-old grandma when it comes to fucking like facts about this shit, bro. This shit.
Totally Palpatine.
My dude is Palpatine. Why do I like it?
Oh, I love it too. He looks more Palpatine-ish in that second photo, honestly, especially with like the red. All right. So now we established that the new Palpatine, the new Pope is Palpatine, and he's from Coruscant. Does this mean that the new Pope is going to bring down the Jedi Order, like from the inside?
I hope that it means that God is a Sith. That's what I hope it means.
That's a crazy statement, but I'll roll with it.
Dude, God is Sith, bro.
Well, we've been kind of hinting recently that the Christian God might be some crazy Cthulhu monster.
We have been talking about that. We've been
Bro,
all over that.
was that part of the May 4th pod?
I honestly don't even remember. I remember that he mentioned that, and I was just like, yeah, that could be the case. Oh, no, we talked about that yesterday with the plasma apocalypse, right? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yesterday we were going through like potential like predictions and prophecies and stuff like that. So if anybody's paying attention to the timeline, this one is probably going to come out way earlier than like a lot of other episodes. We talked yesterday about how there was like a bunch of people that predicted the end of the world in 2025 to 2027, like in that range. And that like some crazy shit's going to go down, like alien invasions. They talked about like a celestial event and like all kinds of like different shit. And we got to one, it was like the last thing we talked about, and it was the idea of it was called a plasma apocalypse. Have you ever seen the movie Futurama Bender's Big Score?
That's a movie?
Yeah, it's a
Future.
Futurama movie. It
I
was
feel
like
like
the first movie they did.
I have seen this, but I thought it was an episode.
Well, so it kind of. I think they played it a lot on TV as like an extended episode kind of thing, and they had a sequel called Beast with a Billion Backs or something like that.
Yes, I've 100% seen that episode.
Yep. So that's even better. That reflects more
So,
so
yeah,
what I'm talking
oh,
about.
yeah, no, I've seen these episodes. I just thought, well, yeah, I didn't realize
Yeah.
they were movies. So.
Yeah. So you remember at the end of Bender's Big Score, he tears like a hole in reality, and then in the next one, it becomes like Beast of a Billion Backs. There's this like Cthulhu type monster that comes through like the crack and starts like taking over and taking over people's bodies and shit.
Yes, I do.
So I guess they might have gotten that idea from this. It's called this plasma apocalypse. I forgot how exactly it came about. He might actually remember that more. But yeah, do you remember how they said that was gonna happen?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Well, basically the idea is that like
It was like a whole like a 2K type of fucking.
well, so
Oh,
the
sorry.
universe is made what it's all right. So the universe is like 99% plasma. Oh, the ocean anomaly, the South Atlantic anomaly. I guess because of that and like the poles shifting and everything,
Exactly.
it could potentially cause like this like reality layer in our like atmosphere to like almost like a shift into another dimension. But it basically like goes into a plasma dimension, and this plasma dimension it basically attaches itself to like everything in our dimension and pulls it into like its dimension, I guess, is like the gist of it. And it would basically be almost like what the Bible would describe as like a rapture, because it would be taking people and pulling people like into the sky and sucking them into this portal, because it would like be attaching itself to everything with plasma. That was like one potential apocalypse, and that was like really crazy and like
Do you believe
interesting.
that?
No, it was a potential
Okay,
apocalypse.
okay.
Yeah.
That
We
was,
were yeah. Honestly, that was kind of a digression, because we talked a lot about like prophecies and like and people that like predicted the end of the world a lot. And a lot of the shit that they were mentioning seems to be like shit that was like has been going on. And like even the tree spirit's been digging on me a little bit for it like the past few months, when I like I mentioned like, oh, Europe might get decimated or whatever. We're saying all this shit. But like with everything that's happening right now, there's a real chance that like crazy shit could pop off. Like there's a real chance that like that even like the guy that like says that like Europe could get destroyed, and then people come in and from like the Middle East and basically take over, because it's like a whole new like continent that's just been wiped out. It's kind of like fascinating, really, if you think about it.
no, it is. I like this. I like all this.
Not even that it is gonna happen, but
To think that this all stemmed from us talking about the Pope is kind of trippy as fucking just.
well, I mean, this is leading into like the next few topics, because like
Yeah, it, yeah.
it's like this is all part of it, like new popes and shit like that, end of the world prophecies, all that shit's like kind of just like it's amazing, because we're living in a time where everything is coming to a head. So regardless, we're going to be living in a new era of the world. And I don't mean that in necessarily a negative way or a positive way, but
Like,
we're literally entering a new era.
we're already halfway there, bro. Shit's weird.
Well, that's what I mean. Like this is, you know how they say that, there's that classic like talk about like World War III isn't going to happen in a day. You know what I mean? You're not gonna look around one day and say, "Oh, World War III is today." You know what I mean? You're not gonna end the night being like, "Well, I guess today was World War III." You know what I mean? This is it. One day, what's actually gonna happen is you're gonna wake up and you're gonna look around and you're gonna say, "Wow, we're in World War III, and it's been happening, and we just didn't realize that it's been happening." Because that's how all the world wars happened. It wasn't just one event, it was a cascade of events that led up to a single moment where things just changed, and you realized that we were in it, or we were in this. You know what I mean? Like for the Americans, that was Pearl Harbor. India v Pakistan, that shit is crazy. So what's going on there is let me go to the world news real quick. All right, so everybody probably is aware of the Pakistan situation. If you're not, there's been like I said, this is the first time in history that we've had a military powers that are actively going at each other in this way. Nuclear powers, I should say. It's kind of crazy, and I'm seeing 3 hours ago, Pakistan launches quote military operation against India, which this is big news and could lead to a lot of crazy shit. What did you say?
I just said, holy shit.
Yeah, things are escalating
Nothing quick.
quickly.
Yeah.
So there was, I guess today, missile strikes in an air base in Pakistan, if I'm not mistaken. Missile strike targets Nurkan Air Base as explosions hit Rawalpindi in Lahore. I might be saying that wrong, but we'll roll with it. The Pakistan military spokesman says we will not de-escalate with India. That's fucking crazy. That was 12 hours ago. Today, a lot of shit has happened. Pakistan says retaliatory strikes underway after accusing India of targeting military bases. Crazy, crazy shit going on right now. Pakistan's army spokesman says India has fired missiles at 3 Pakistani air bases.
What the fuck, dude?
That was 5 hours ago.
Jesus Christ! Can you imagine that we're just hanging out? We're just
Well, that's
hanging out
what
right now,
I've been
and people
thinking
are
about this
shooting
all
missiles
day,
at each
dude.
other. People blowing up and dying. This is
What?
fucking. That's just wild to me.
100%, but you think of the implications of this too. Nuclear powers shooting missiles at each other's nuclear military bases. This is crazy. Like, this is gonna lead to literally World War III.
Let me ask,
Remember what I said
let me ask
earlier?
a
This is
crazy
World War
question.
III.
Let me ask a crazy question.
Yeah.
Do you think they deserved it?
I don't think anybody deserves any of this in this situation.
Thank you. That is a good answer. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think
That's
the
why it's
entire
kind of I
world
had to ask
deserves
the crazy
this.
question. That's why I like asking that shit.
No, the whole world does not deserve this either. Like, nobody deserves this, because this will potentially lead to mutually assured destruction if it doesn't stop.
Yeah,
Or
man.
like
Yeah.
we were talking about earlier, like the fucking the decimation of Europe and like even potentially the Middle East. And then if that happens, like, nuclear fallout could happen, and literally our entire world is destroyed. Like, doesn't even matter if like a quarter of the nukes in the world go off, the world will end. Even if a minute amount of nukes go off, the world will end because of nuclear fallout. We're gonna experience radiation in our everyday life for the next 20 to 40 years. Everybody's gonna get cancer and die. It's gonna be the end of the world. Our
I've
crops
said,
are all gonna die. We're all gonna be fucked.
oh man, give me anxiety.
I'm not
Oh
trying to,
no,
but
no, no.
like,
It's
you know,
facts. No, you're right.
it's
If all this shit happens, then you're right, bro. So
it's people aren't
I've
even
thought
thinking
about
about
this
this.
type of shit happening before because we get threatened with this type of weird shit like almost every year where you hear about this shit happening quietly. We're not even part of it. And America's like, oh, don't worry about it. Hey, tariffs, 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 tariffs. And meanwhile, people are fucking in the middle of a war somewhere else and we could all die.
Oh yeah, usually it is just more of like a small scale kind of thing, but like with two powers that are nuclear powers, this is what's the word? A Mexican standoff in the world, and two people that the
I'm,
well, no, it's the
I'm
Cold
sorry.
War. The Cold War was essentially a Mexican standoff, and everybody was just getting more and more guns until finally a couple of people, which is what's happening right now, are starting to fist fight instead of using their guns, even though they do have guns. So what's going to happen is they're probably going to end up using those guns, and what's going to happen is everybody else in the standoff is going to start using them too, because they're not going to know what's going to happen, because that always happens. I'm not pro gun control in the sense that I'm not like, take everybody's guns away or anything like that. But if you're somebody that's at a shooting, right, and stuff is popping off, right, and you are there before the cops arrive, and you have a gun and that guy has a gun, and you start firing back at that guy and the cops arrive, are they going to know that you're the guy defending all these people against the mad gunman over there? Or are they going to think that maybe you're the mad gunman too? Who knows? Maybe they know that guy who started popping shots off and they think that he is trying to defend a situation. This is just a random scenario.
This is a very specific niche scenario, though.
It is, but this is nuclear war, because if you see some shit popping off over there, you're not going to know how to handle it.
To make it more blunt, like you were almost even just putting into context. I mean, just saying, like, yeah, you know what I mean? A person busting in on a like that, they're gonna shoot everybody regardless. So that's the simplest way to put it. They're gonna, you know what I mean? Like whatever
Exactly.
government is busting down a door, whatever situation they see, if the narrative is to just fucking eliminate everybody and make sure that the scene is clear, then they're just gonna kill everybody anyway.
Well,
So
all threats, exactly. But that's what I'm saying is, I guess in this situation, the nuclear powers are the people with guns, and the aliens are the police coming in to just wipe everybody out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He
But
laughs. He giggles right after he says that was crazy.
yeah, you know, the
No, you're
aliens
right.
come
Yeah.
wipe
No,
everybody out. You know,
I agree,
but
man. Yeah.
it's a crazy world we're living in, and really, I just want to say Godspeed to everybody and good luck, because it's it's not going to be easy, and things are really ramping up fast. If who knows? Maybe barely anybody's even going to hear this, but like those
Never
that do, what is it?
nothing.
No, I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, if nuclear war pops off and the world ends, then nobody's going to hear this. But if anybody by any chance does hear this, what I would just do is be prepared. You know what I mean? It's going to be a crazy world regardless of what happens in the next few months. And it's going to be a brave new world, so to speak, where if if things don't de-escalate quickly, like literally today, with the amount of escalations that have happened, if things don't de-escalate quickly, then we're looking at a major, a major just catastrophe, just a planet-wide issue.
But none of your Walmart shoppers will know until.
Yeah, until every screen and every phone has a nuclear strike imminent
Yeah.
notification popping up. Then yeah, people aren't gonna fully comprehend any of this.
Yeah. No, that's exactly.
You know, and
Yeah.
that's what's gonna happen. The world's gonna be on fire, and
I hope, I think, I don't know, man. I'm a different type of person. That's because, like, I hear about the shit. I feel bad for anybody that's, like, feeling bad about that shit happening. If you want to cut this out, you can. But, like, we all
I mean, you
burn.
can speak your piece.
Dude, we all burn. We all die. Man, I guess I'm some. I just don't care. Burn
Hey,
all that. I I hate it. I hate how it's like we all die. in this. I feel bad for a lot of things. Mainly kids, because I love children are cool, man. Won't have addictions, but like the whole world burns, man. Things, music and sounds. Sorry, I give so much context because it's kind of depressing, but it's like, oh man, it's whatever. Plainly put, it's whatever, dude. I don't care. I actually don't.
I think like how people thought when 2012 happened. I think that I think the world is burning and the world is ending, but like in
Mm-hmm.
that like metaphorical sense.
you think we're entering a new Bakhtun?
Well, that's just like a good description. That's just like a good description of the chemical process of our
Yeah.
reality changing.
Yeah, well, I'm also not saying I'm just saying like the world is gonna get nuked and we're all gonna die. So I mean, I'm not saying we're entering a new age. I'm just saying, like, who knows?
I know you think it's. I know you think it's
I
gonna
think
end.
it's
I'm
gonna
just saying.
end
I don't
for
think it's.
us. I don't think it's gonna
I
end
don't think it's.
entirely. The world will go on,
I
but
don't think it'll. I don't think it'll end for everybody.
I think ours will survive. I think.
It'll end. I don't think
I
it'll end for everybody though. What's
no,
the
I
figure? Is there
agree.
any percentage of survival? Because like there will be survival rates. There will
Yeah,
be
there's gonna be
people
rich
that
people in bunkers and shit. But let me tell you something. I read a figure the other day, and it said that in the event of nuclear war, 72 minutes into the first nuclear strike, 60% of humanity will probably die. That's just the first 72 minutes.
But it's like,
That's not, you
hey,
know,
what if none of this stuff happens? Though?
what if what?
What if none of this stuff happens though? That's another good question. What if none of it happens?
I don't think we're gonna enter a nuclear holocaust. I don't think so.
Yeah, but you guys don't find it concerning that for the first time ever in history, two nuclear powers are literally going head to head, and one is
Yeah.
attacking the other's military bases, and
Yes. Yeah.
possibly nukes are gonna.
I think the other nuclear powers are going to look at them and be like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?"
All right. Well, let's also see what's going on. We have Europe backs tribunal to prosecute Putin for crimes against Ukraine. Great. Ukraine says it uncovered Hungarian spy network. Awesome. End support to terrorist groups. USA Secretary of State Marco Rubio tells Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif. Looking up. Pakistan Prime Minister calls meeting a body that oversees nuclear arsenal, says Pakistan military 2 hours ago.
This dude, it's crazy how the stuff that he's reading us right now, it is actually happening within hours, which is kind of it actually does put things into like this weird, drippy, stinky little drippy, weird perspective. And it's like
That's what I'm saying.
but this is the thing, like dude, bro, I'm like I'm loving and respecting your perspective of all this matter because this is interesting, is fucking interesting as fuck. But also like it's just the way I am. You know what I mean? Like it's just
You want to hear something really crazy? And you
no,
know
yeah,
what
dude.
might
Yes,
you
yes, I do.
so this is related to all of this, and if this happens, the United States would 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 not get striked. This would actually cause the United States to not get like striked. Like
And we'll
this
be
would be
the strongest country in the
dude,
world,
I'm at a
and we'll get
loss
to
of
eat
words right now.
gabagool forever.
This is from an hour ago. And if this happens, this is a pipe dream, but if this happens, this would be crazy. Donald Trump to announce US recognizes Palestinian state, Gulf diplomatic source claims. If that happens, that would mean that we would not be nuked by Iran and all those countries. I because that's their whole mission is to make Palestine recognized as like a state. That would be crazy.
That is gnarly, actually.
U.S. Secretary Rubio's call with Pakistani army chief.
This actually makes, bro. This makes more sense.
This
That
is
this.
crazy.
What did I say, man? Dude, without saying the actual sentence, because it's the joke I was making, but narrative, 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 bro.
Yeah,
Shit's
but this means
everything.
that everything over in like the Middle East might get wiped out, but we would be maybe good over here. Maybe.
Exactly. That's narrative.
That's not good either way. There should never be, we should not have nuclear strikes ever.
I'm not saying it's good.
I want to read this article from 4 hours ago. Pakistan says retaliatory strikes underway after accusing India of targeting military bases. Pakistan officials confirm counterattack against India has begun under the name Operation Bunyan el Marsus,
Wait, Bunyan?
meaning wall of lead in Arabic. I might be Bunyan. It's probably Bunyan, actually. Pakistan said it has begun retaliation strikes after accusing India of targeting three of its military bases with missiles fired from fighter jets in a major escalation of the brewing conflict between the two nuclear armed neighbors. Pakistan military spokesperson Ahmed Sharif Qadri said India had fired 6 surface to air missiles targeting Nurkan, Murid, and Shorkat, three of Pakistan's most important military bases, early on Saturday morning, he said. Most were intercepted by Pakistani air defenses. Shortly afterwards, Pakistan officials confirmed they had begun their counterattack against India under the name Operation Bunyan ul Marsus, a phrase from Quran roughly translating to wall of lead. Pakistan said the retaliation strikes targeted Indian Army infrastructure and bases, including Pathankot military airfield and Brahmas missile storage site in Indian state of Punjab, as well as Udhampur Air Force Base in India-administered Kashmir. I'm finding the Indian names harder than the Pakistan names.
I love you pronouncing Indian names. It's magical.
It's funny because I thought that I would have a harder time with the Pakistani names, but they're relatively easy. Loud explosions were also heard in the Indian Kashmir city of Srinagar.
Kashmir City.
Cities and districts in Punjab, Haryana, and across Indian-administered Kashmir were put on red alert, with residents told to remain indoors and blackout orders enforced. India did not immediately comment on any alleged strikes, but a statement from the Ministry of Defense said the Indian armed forces are maintaining a high state of alert, and all such aerial threats are being tracked and engaged using counter-drone systems. The Indian Army said that Pakistan's blatant escalation with drones, other munitions, continues along our western borders. They said multiple hostile drones had been spotted over the Punjab city of Amritsar, which were instantly engaged and destroyed by our air defense units. After the launch of their counterattack, Pakistan's Prime Minister called a meeting of the National Command Authority, the main body in charge of decisions on control, command, and operations of Pakistan's nuclear weapons. Pakistan's Planning Minister Ahsan Iqbal told local media that special measures had been taken to avoid civilian targets in India, and that they were striking military locations that had been used to target Pakistan. We would hate to see the nuclear threshold being breached, said Iqbal. Among the military bases said to be targeted by Indian, that was definitely a threat also. Among the military bases said to be targeted by Indian missiles was Nirkan Air Base in Rawalpindi, where the military has its headquarters, which was around 10 kilometers from the Pakistani capital, Islamabad. In the aftermath of the strikes, Pakistan shut down its airspace. Videos shared on social media showed flames and smoke billowing into the night sky as a voice can be heard saying there has been an attack on Nirkan base. The early morning strike on Nirkan caused mass panic in the densely populated area, with residents running into the street. There was a loud explosion which woke everyone up. It was so scary, everyone is still in a panic, said one resident living nearby. India's attempted strikes on Rawalpindi and other key military bases and the launch of Pakistan's counterattack on Saturday marks the steepest escalation in their confrontation yet, bringing the two countries the closest they have been to war in decades. On Wednesday, India's missiles struck 9 sites in Pakistan, killing 31 people. Those strikes in turn were India's response to an attack in India-administered Kashmir late last month, in which militants killed 25 Hindu tourists and a guide. And we actually talked about that. Didn't think it would get this crazy, but it got this crazy. We talked about that in the headlines episode for last month. It's gonna probably be out in like the next couple days. Yeah, which they allege had Pakistan's involvement. India's targeting of Pakistani army bases came hours after India said Pakistan had launched yet another wave of drone attacks across 26 locations over the state of Punjab and Indian-administered Kashmir on Friday night. Explosions were heard near the airport. Explosions were heard near the airport in Srinagar, in the main city in India-administered Kashmir. The Indian Army said they had largely intercepted the drones, but police said 3 people in Firozpur district of Punjab, which borders Pakistan, had been injured from the drone attacks, one in a critical condition. Earlier in the day, India accused Pakistan of launching an attack using up to 400 drones to target cities, military bases, and places of worship across the north of the country on Thursday. India claimed to have intercepted hundreds of Pakistani drones, which it said came across the border into Indian-administered Kashmir, as well as Rajasthan, Punjab, and Gujarat. It is said that a first wave of drones came on Thursday evening, and another wave hit close to dawn on Friday. India said it had launched 4 drone strikes at Pakistan directly targeting military defense infrastructure. In a press conference on Friday, Indian military alleged that Pakistan's drone attacks on Thursday had targeted Gurdwara, a Sikh place of worship, injuring a civilian, and that the drones had also targeted Christian churches. Pakistan's information minister, Atawala Tarar, had denied the drone attacks. However, a Pakistan security official said Thursday night's drone attacks were just to heat things up before Pakistan launched a fully fledged retaliatory attack. Speaking to Geo News after Pakistan began its counterattack, Ishaq Dar, the country's foreign minister and deputy prime minister, said Pakistan had been left with no choice to retaliate. There was no other option because India showed no sincerity in response to the diplomatic efforts made by friendly countries, he said. We acted only after India continued firing drones and missiles. The U.S. State Department confirmed that the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio had spoken with Pakistan's Army Chief General Asim Munir. Early on Saturday morning, Rubio called for de-escalation and offered U.S. assistance in starting constructive talks in order to avoid future conflicts. He said a State Department spokesperson.
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's literally shit going down right now that's wild. G7 nations urge India and Pakistan to have direct dialogue. Trial for Lavrov and Putin, all about the tribunal for Russia that received Europe's blessing. And just to throw this in there, Ontario reports almost 200 new measles cases as virus spreads across Canada. Great.
I never.
I want to hear what the hell?
Maybe he was going to say be right back or something, or maybe he cut out. I don't know. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, let me ask you this. Do they like the new pope? It was a joke. I know. I got more. I'm sorry.
That was good. Well, we got the man from Kentucky here to add levity to the situation. So what do you think about Pakistan versus India? What kind of levity we got for that?
Oh my God. Well, we have no levity. America
We
has
have no levity.
We have no, in my opinion, bro, there is nothing. To me, we have nothing. Like, what are we gonna do, man? Who we have as a president, bro?
Oh, Western leaders head to Kiev to demand Putin agrees to ceasefire. It seems like a bad idea for all the Western leaders to go to a place that's like being attacked.
This seemed like it. Okay, so oh man, this might need to be all put out, but it seems like Middle Eastern countries. Let me just get really raw and stupid with it. Middle Eastern countries have this weird way of feuding, bro, where it's so fast paced. It's so fast paced, and they all want to threaten so quickly. They all use these old school tactics where, like, if you threaten quick and then you act quick on words, like it's like people are gonna get scared, and they go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and they're like, yeah, this shit's gonna all get covered within like quiet media, but you want my true opinion on it is like this shit could, if it all happens, if it all truly happens, because it still could, man. This is still something to be kind of pretty terrified about. We could all be fucked. You're 100% correct, but I also believe that it could just be this same bullshit that I've heard over and over and over and over again throughout my whole life, where it's like these Middle Eastern countries are
like I've never felt like, oh, we could all die tomorrow. I've always felt like we could all die in a month. But I've never felt like ever in my life the doomsday clock has been like this close to midnight, so to speak. And I feel that now. I feel that I have so much existential dread about what's going on because I've literally seen this moment coming my entire life. And this is only the reason this is the only reason why I feel existential dread about it is because I've only ever read about these moments happening, the India versus Pakistan thing, and I've only ever read that if this happens, this would be the end of the world. I'm not saying it is, and I'm not saying it isn't, but these are the scenarios that we're presented with in real time. And if you read what I'm reading, or like, you know what I mean, you saw the headlines, or you heard the headlines that I was reading.
yeah,
It was escalating very quickly,
quickly,
all
yeah.
in the past 24 to 48 hours, not even the past week. And this is the thing that I've said is that if the only reason why I have this existential dread is because of that level of escalation. That's the end of the world. It's not in a month or two the world's going to end because missiles are going to fire here or there. No, it's this is happening in real time, and tomorrow we could all be dead. I'm not saying tomorrow we could all be dead, but I'm saying that's the prospect of nuclear war and all of this happening.
No, I agree with that. I agree.
when you read those headlines, you see we are heading in that direction.
I agree with that.
Direction.
I agree with that. But just to catch
Tree spirit.
Tree Spirit up on what we're at, like my argument on that a little bit, because I still agree with him. Like I don't really sit strongly on any position, I guess, with that, because like he's not wrong.
Hey, I have to go.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry, dude.
It's all right. We recorded for a while.
Yeah.
But you guys should keep going. Oh, I also wanted to say the thing I got cut off saying real quick, and then I'll go. It's kind of crazy that like Pakistan and India, they could just start attacking each other and start threatening to like start throwing nukes, and the whole rest of the world be so scared about it that they could just start giving India, Pakistan whatever they want to just stop, and they're like holding the world hostage just in their own game.
Crazy thought, yeah.
But they could also just work together to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's what Putin's been doing though this whole time.
Yeah, but we're not really giving Putin anything.
No, we are. We've talked about giving him half of the Ukraine. A major minerals deal.
Well, that's what he's trying to get. That's all. But like, I'm talking about like Pakistan and in India. They could be getting like straight up money, or they could get like all these different like programs. They can get funding from other countries just to defend themselves, and then never not actually fight each other.
India could completely solve its food crisis right now. That's true. I didn't think of that.
But like other countries could do it too. Like us, like that's probably partly what we did with.
Well, that was our whole thing with the Cold War, is that whoever had the bigger nukes had the most that they could say.
But remember, we also talked. I think maybe even just yesterday that the whole Cold War, or like the space race, could have been a fake war, and we're actually just working together to advance society.
I think that, like we were talking about, that would have been the best case scenario, really.
You think the moon is the best case scenario?
No. Oh, so there's this theory that me and him were talking about yesterday, where it was
I do have to tell him. You tell him.
Yeah.
I have to.
Have a good night, dude.
I'm sorry.
Fade into the
guys.
darkness, and I love
Good talking
you,
to you
brother. Appreciate you.
All right. So there was this theory we talked about yesterday, and I've actually told him that this is like one that I kind of like a lot. It's there's this theory that Russia and the United States were actually secretly working together since World War II, behind the scenes, and that them working against each other in the Cold War was just a facade in order to get the public in both nations to spend more money and be more pro going to outer space and advancing the space race.
Okay.
And honestly, I love that theory. If that was the
that's
case,
crazy.
that would be like best case scenario, honestly.
Yeah, that's trippy.
Yeah. But I like that. What do you think though? Do you think I know you're pushing back a little bit, and I appreciate that, because I don't want all of this to be doom and gloom. I don't want anybody to think like
It depends.
if this,
It depends.
you know,
I like to push back sometimes, but you know what I mean? Like I also, if things are logically there, like I'm gonna, like I get it. I'll agree if I feel like it. I mean, that's the beauty of this shit. You know what I mean?
And I'm not saying that all of this is going to lead to the destruction of the world. What I'm saying is that more so than any moment in my entire life, I am truly scared for the future. You know what I mean?
No, you're right to be, bro. You're right to be. I mean, at any moment, you're always right to be.
You are. But like, I feel like maybe how I thought about this earlier today. You remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? I feel like that's how the feeling that I have is, I feel like how people felt at that time is that existential dread of like, this could be it. And we got our pants down, so to speak. And we're, and that's the shitty part about like the end of the world, is that if it happens, it's going to be something that we were unprepared for. So it's most likely just going to take us by surprise. You know what I mean? asteroid, anything like that. If it's an asteroid that takes us out, it's because one, we either didn't detect it in time, or two, we didn't have enough power to destroy it, and it just wipes us out. You know, end of the world scenarios are a dime a dozen. That's kind of what's sad about that is that, and it's true.
I like that sentence. I'm sorry. The end of the world scenarios are a dime a dozen.
It's true. Like there's so many ways that society and everything, you know, could just go out.
It happened within a second. Yeah, that's always that's why I like that sentence, because it's always been my point. It's like it could be something real simple too.
Oh yeah.
Like that whole COVID scenario in itself, bro. Like I know it wasn't something that wiped us out, but like if you think about it, it could be something could be as easy as a disease that spreads so quickly and so fast that we all,
Yes.
and with this things, it's like there could be anything that happens within any fucking moment that could just wipe everybody out.
I agree. You know what my fear is that we don't get a virus that wipes us out because viruses need hosts, dude. They're
Uh-huh.
they're parasitic, but they're still symbiotic in a way because they need something in order to survive. You know what I mean? A virus can't just live on nothing.
Yeah.
You know what can live on nothing though and can survive for potentially in ice even if it's frozen? Bacteria.
Yes.
We could,
Yes.
you know? What happened for hundreds of years, dude?
This
We
is
had the
why
Black Plague,
that's we would, dude, brain connection.
right?
Because I was literally just about to bring up the plague, bro. Like, that's why stuff like that comes back. That's why stuff like
No,
that comes back.
100%. And if that did happen, dude, if that happened again, a plague that big, we would be destroyed. There would be nothing left of humanity because we're so connected at this point that there would be no way we would survive. It would
No,
just be it would be destruction.
dude, the thing is also, if like, let's just fucking dial say any fucking scenario is happening, or we're all
Oh
in
yeah.
a fucking.
CERN.
Listen, it would be pure panic. It would be pure panic, and everyone for themselves, and people would be murdering you. If you didn't die from what's happening, you die from your neighbor and stabbing your head in so he can fucking take over your house and your fucking supplies, bro. Like,
Oh yeah.
it just like it would be pure fucking chaos at the end of the day. If we were truly in a apocalypse, bro, it would not be normal. I don't think people are truly prepared for it. Get it? My family refuses to have a gun in the house.
I agree. I think that I'm more prepared for it than the average person, but I still don't even think I'm prepared for it. I think if the shit hits the fan, I only have enough food and water or supplies to last me like 2 weeks, I think.
And
And I think that's a good amount.
on top of that, are you willing?
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff, you'll cut it if you need to. But I'm sorry, I'm stuttering.
Yeah.
Are you willing to have to shoot a person in the head if you need to?
Well, that's always been the case. If it's a survival scenario and it's between me and another person and the other person wishes me harm, then that's a case by case basis. You know what I mean?
You're ready to go?
I'm not gonna ever murder somebody, but I would always commit self-defense.
Yes,
I
exactly.
would never murder anybody.
No,
That'd be fucked up.
no one's trying to murder anybody. I'm 100% not trying to talk about. This is not for fun. Yeah, we're in 100%.
Yeah. Just so anybody hears this and I don't just say, yeah, I would mac that fool in his fucking face. No. It would be self-defense. You know what I mean?
I had to retort for your answer through your answer, because I was like, I guess I asked a question kind of blunt. So I was like, yeah, I had to reiterate that I was talking about self defense 100%. Like in a moment where
Yeah.
we're in an apocalyptic setting, and say like there's some person who's trying to take over your house, especially if you're someone with a family and things you're trying to protect, and someone's bashing in your freaking door and they're ready to fuck. Yeah, no, dude, kaplow. Like, bro, these are, I think,
Wow.
apocalyptic settings that, yeah, like
Hey,
these are
you're right. But these are what?
apocalyptic settings that I think a lot of people don't think about, or they think they're just gonna be like, oh man. I think people think of real life movie too much, man, too often.
Yeah.
And if we go in a public setting, there's gonna be all these teams. We're all gonna help each other. No, no, dude, no. It's gonna be awful. It's gonna be psychotic in the streets.
Yeah.
You'll go
The
from
only people that will survive are the psychopaths.
You'll literally be living in the middle of a suburb and have lunatics bashing in your doors to steal your shit in seconds in an apocalyptic setting like that, bro. That's the way it's gonna be. That's the way I picture it being anyway. Like there's no way. It's just too realistic in my head that that's the way it is.
So
So
let me ask so let's take Apocalypse back a dial. Let's go down to, instead of 10, let's go to 9.
yeah,
Pre-apocalypse. What about martial law?
yeah, same thing.
Do you think that would probably happen before, like, officially the apocalypse kicks in? Do you think a certain amount of martial law would be declared?
100%. And I guess that's kind of what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, I guess we're and you're dialing it back to 9, and I'm gonna bring it back to 10. But like, okay, let's make it a crazy scenario, bro. Let's say you are prepared to ride out this eclipse, bro. You prepared for it. Picture you have a wife, kids. Picture this is you in your scenario, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a fucking SWAT team ready to blast down your door, bro. You Are you gonna submit your whole family to them? Or are you gonna fucking fight back? Do you have are you even prepared to have the right arsenal of types of weapons to fucking fight back against these monsters about to bash in your door, take over your house, take over your neighbor's house and every house down the street, because now they need to make this a military war zone, and they're probably going to murder you, dude. Like, this is worst case scenario in my head. This is martial law, bro. That's martial law.
No, it is. It is. That's
Are
what's
you
going to
willing?
happen is people
Are you
are going to
willing to
form
fight? Are
groups,
you
but it's going
willing
to be
to fight back?
psychotic.
Are you willing to fight back until? Because I think it's just like I'm going to die already in my head, so it's like pew pew pew, and then I die. I
And then
take a
I
couple.
die.
I take a couple out, and then I die with them. Pathetic, but it's all. Yeah, it's all
So
you got, isn't it?
I don't want to dwell too much on this next topic, but
We're getting dark, dude.
well, this next idea is really dark, and I'm not even gonna say what it is, but I'm gonna ask you. You've seen the movie The Mist, right? With Thomas Jane. You remember how the movie ended, right? And don't say how it ended, but do you remember how it ended? And if you don't, or you have a vague recollection, I'll give you a reminder that's vague enough.
I actually don't think I even remember because I have 100% seen not just the original Mist, but the newer Mist. I've seen both
Oh, you
versions,
talking
and
about the fog.
oh,
The
yeah.
mist is just the mist.
So is that with like the alien creatures?
Yes. Yes, they come through like the mist in the small town.
Okay, with the air, and they're stuck in an airport, and they're stuck in an airport.
No, but they're stuck in a marketplace.
But were they on an airplane? Okay, so I don't know, man. I don't
So
know if I
they're
remember.
stuck in a marketplace, and they all go crazy in this marketplace as a mist rolls through, and all these crazy interdimensional creatures come through the mist.
I feel like I
And
know this movie. I have to.
you
This
probably
has to be the one with.
seen it. It's got the guy who played the Punisher in the John Travolta Punisher movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think
So
this is the movie I'm thinking of. So
it probably is. It probably is. Honestly, it does feel like an airport, even though it's a small market. It does have like that kind of feeling. I know what you mean if that's what you're thinking of, because they spend a lot of the time behind like the marketplace area in the garage and shit, and it feels kind of like that. But there's a scene in the movie. It's the last scene in the movie. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody. Well, actually, I am. It's a very big twist. I'm gonna totally spoil this for everybody that's listening. So if you haven't seen the movie or you don't care, or you do care, shut it off and or skip ahead like say 30 seconds. exactly 30 seconds from right now. All right, so shit. He takes his family and his kid and his friends, and he goes out and drives, right? And he pulls over to the side of the road and he thinks all hope is lost. So he has a gun with 5 shots and there's 6 people in the car. So he takes it and he kills everybody in the car, and then he cries and he freaks out. And then the military comes right immediately after and starts burning all the webs and shit, and basically says that everything's good. All right, go. Now we're 30 seconds back. I think that was a good timing. Um, so what do you think of that ending? And I'm not saying you would do that to other people, but would you ever, like, if you thought that all hope was lost with the world, would you be like, are you the type to go to your last breath, or are you the type to call it a day? That's what I'm gonna ask. And that's how I'll put that.
I am. I genuinely think, as much as like I guess you never know until you're in the moment.
Mm-hmm. And
I
I agree with
genuinely,
that statement.
I just think I'm a fucking lunatic, and
You think you'd go to the last breath?
yeah, man, I think I just want to like take something out with me. You know, I
Yeah.
want
Well, I
to like,
think I would go to the last breath too. I would be the one that would be crawling from radiation sickness on the ground, trying to still eat a hot dog after it's been doused with like 100
yeah,
megatons of fucking nuclear energy. And I would be like, well, I'm dying of radiation poisoning, but at least I'm still alive.
that's what I'm saying. Why not?
Yeah, I wouldn't ever call it quits. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go look at you know, that barrel and be like, I'm gonna call it a day. No, I'm literally the type to just fucking keep crawling until I get a fucking heart attack or fucking lose a limb or like am bleeding out. I will literally go to the last fucking breath. And if the apocalypse happens, I will fucking keep going until one of those fucking marauders puts one right between my eyes.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
The marauders are coming. I'm gonna let the marauders take it down. One
Yeah.
between the eyes.
Yeah, dude. I can't I've never liked the idea. I mean, I guess like some people think of it like you're torturing yourself if you're in a hopeless situation, but I don't know.
This is also the thing. I think this is why it's also detrimental to know if these things are going to happen. Have friends that you know you can rely on and you can form a team with.
Yes, and know that they're not psychotic towards you.
If people like me, you, and Tree Spirit are keen to what's about to happen, and we can all form a union and of weapons and be planned for this shit. Like
Form a union of weapons.
union, dude. Telling you, man, we have rights. And all right,
These weapons have rights.
these weapons,
The the Mace 206, the
bro.
Flail 508. But yeah, no, I agree. You got to surround yourself with good people if shit hits the fan, or nobody at all. And that's the issue. You know what I mean?
I don't care. I feel like I'm, I'll say it. I feel like I'm a little more liberal than anything, but it's
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, it's like I'm not someone who's going to judge someone else's political beliefs for the most part, unless you're really trying to like say crazy shit.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, man. I'll find a way to weave with you and see where you're coming from in most perspectives, because none of us really know what the fuck we're talking about anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you're pretty open-minded.
I try to be.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's just like if you're speaking to hurt people in like a very specific type of way, it's just like I don't get it, and I don't like you at that
Yeah.
point. So like we can shoot you along with all the weirdos, but
Well, that's and I like to say, like, fight fire with fire in that situation,
well, yeah.
but never stoop to anybody's level.
For real.
But yeah, I don't know. But the apocalypse, anyways, the apocalypse. Yeah, good people should be around you in the apocalypse. You know what we should do if we don't experience the apocalypse in the next week, dude? You know what we should do? And I'll
What's up?
talk to Tree Spirit about this. We should have an episode, and I'll even like fucking like gather up a list and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll have an episode of like talking about like things you should do during the apocalypse, or like scenarios you could get into, or you know what I mean?
I
At
like
least
that.
you know what I mean? Like potential like I mean, yeah, we're probably all gonna die of radioactive poisoning the first few months, but
But what if
there's good things to keep in mind while that's happening.
that's hard, and like, what if we found some bunker, some like, bro? I'm literally gonna start
That's a good one.
researching abandoned bunkers. Abandoned, because
Mhm.
we ain't paying for this shit. So we look up an abandoned bunker somewhere, bro. And even if it's like what say we know it's 3, 4, 5 hours out, we know it's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So if anything extreme like this that like you're mentioning happens, I
we'll
don't
have a
care.
place.
You know what I mean? We could. I will contact everyone I love. I don't even care. You, all of us, we'll stuff in there like potatoes, bro.
Mhm.
like just to at least like exist after the downfall of whatever the fuck's happening.
Yeah, even if
But
just for a little bit longer.
you know what I mean? If we find anything like that, like I don't know, man. I know it could be bad, but it's like, do you survive? Do you let yourself die? It's just I'm a fight or flight, and I'm always going to be a fight. Before I mean, it's going to be both, I guess, in the sense of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm just always going to be that type of lunatic. So
Well, that's what I was asking too. Is like if
yeah,
nukes were
I know
going
you
off
are. Sorry, I'm on this.
in yeah, in if nukes were like going off in Europe and shit like that, hypothetically speaking, and you know that people the rate of people offing themselves, I'll put it that way, would skyrocket even in the United States, even if there was no prospects in that moment of it happening over here, it would still happen because people would think, oh my God, it's going to happen over here. If people knew that something, if the world was going into martial law, there would be a lot of people just going and being like, that's it, I'm done. And that's kind of crazy. But at the same time, it's like, it kind of makes sense. But like, because if you do survive into that brave new world, that new world order, so to speak, what's going to happen is you're going to have to adjust to the harsh realities of life, and that might be harder than just saying, "Hey, I had a good run" and calling it quits. That's my for some people. Like I said, I don't
You're
believe in
not
that.
wrong.
You know what I mean? I don't, like I said, I don't believe in that personally. I will go to the last breath, and I want everybody to know that too. So if anybody ever takes me out or anything like that, if anybody ever John McAfee's me, no way, no how. I will not go down that way.
But I know
Will
what you're
ne-
saying.
you know?
I do get the point you're making, though.
Yeah.
Sure. Because it's always something I've pointed out in the sense of like, I follow this dude, comedian, but he's always said there's people that want to seclude themselves, like out. They say they want to move out to like a cabin in the middle of nowhere and just live there. You know what I mean? Just be away from everything. Blah blah blah. Blah. It's like, then what happens after you spend all those years being a hermit? I guess if it makes you happy, it makes you happy. But like, say there's something that happens that makes you have to implement yourself back into society. What do you do then? Because there's no way it's going to be comfortable for you from then on out. I mean, you're going to have to re-implement yourself through so much bullshit, dude. Imagine how you'll have PTSD for the rest of your life. You know what I
So,
mean? Like,
you know what's funny about that? So, this is kind of crazy because you just unlocked a memory, but I remember something from like 10 to 15 years ago, and this reflects what you're saying. Do you remember it was like a TLC show with this weird old family that were living up in the mountains and were like self-sustaining in like
Yes.
Alaska or something
Yep.
like that?
The Alaskan bush people.
Is that what it
That was
was?
yeah,
They had
Alaskan
like
bush
a
people. That
fridge
was the name of the
outside
show.
in underground. Is that what?
Yeah.
All right. And
So
they
you
had
know
like
it was semi-real. So they were really living weird stuff, like a weird. So they were the first
they were
couple seasons.
weird.
Dude, the first couple seasons, that shit was real, and then they made a bunch of money. They bought a mansion, and then had to keep making episodes like that. So it
That's
was
hilarious.
technically so after the first 2 seasons or so,
So it became a reality show, like
it
legitimately.
became completely fake. I watched a whole documentary on it actually.
That's
So
funny.
and they mentioned how it was really rough while they were doing that. But yes, like all the kids are the ones that leaked all the information because people started having talks
Well,
with them,
so
doing
this is what I
interviews.
wanted to ask. Didn't they get? Didn't they go to prison? Didn't the dad go to prison or something like that?
Yeah, for some weird. I don't remember what it was for, but I think you're right. Yeah.
Isn't I think the dad and the son went to prison, if I'm not mistaken, the oldest one. I could be wrong about that.
For
But
what, grooming?
I don't know. I think it was like tax fraud or something like that, honestly,
Yeah,
like tax
it
evasion and
was
shit.
probably that.
But like think about that. Like that's what you were saying. Like those people, like those Alaskan bush people were living off the grid for so long, and then all of a sudden they're just like, hey, you know what? We got a mansion. We're going back. Or potentially like, oh, you're going to prison. Like imagine people that are living out in the wilderness for like their entire lives and then they have to go to prison. How much of a like how much of a change that is having like the entire mountain to yourself and then you're locked in like 4 cells and you're just like, all right, time for 2 hours of sunlight
Dude, you go from living in a trash bag tent to living in a mansion to being in prison.
to being in prison.
What an evolution of a
That,
human,
that
right?
is crazy. And that's I didn't even know the mansion part, but I remember the prison thing, so it's hilarious.
They were living in essentially in like I'm I'm not exaggerating, man. They had a whole hunk of land, fucking uh, ATVs, fucking big house. It was a fuck that a mansion. I'm gonna call it a mansion, bro. Shit was clean.
You know
Uh,
what? To your point, I've always been the type that would be like cabin in the woods, awesome. But you know what I love? I don't just love the cabin in the woods in the middle of nowhere vibe. I just like the small town vibe. And I would just like to have a house on the outskirts with just plenty of land, open land, not woods. Open land with some woods to grow vegetables, to just do stuff on that land.
yeah.
That's the reason why I want land is because I want to have projects, I want to have crafts, I want to have a little creek that I want to paint on a fucking picture on my acrylic paint and shit. You know what I'm saying? I want to do wacky shit like that in my backyard until the day one day when I croak and they can bury me by that fucking stream that I painted shittily on that fucking painting that they'll have for another 20 to 30 years before they sell it in a yard sale.
I know what you mean, man.
Yeah, for $5.